Nerd Skool is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improve.
Hey, fellows. It's the first snap of 11 of the season.
Nerd
Lord have mercy. Okay.
I am a super nerd.
Oh, my glasses are broken.
I am a super nerd.
My pocket is infected.
I am a super nerd.
Excelsior.
Nerd?
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
Starring Andy.
My name is Andy, and I am a super.
I'm a former entertainment journalist.
TBJ.
Hi, this is Tiffany. You may hear me be referred to as TBJ.
TBJ, y'all.
I am what I like to call a surprise nerd.
Art Star.
My name is Art Star, aka Dark Star.
He's the nerd Gotham City deserves.
And yours truly, call me Joe. Did we have any of the recording where Andy said Harkness, Agatha Harkness was going to be in it?
I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
I think that's been the from the get-go. That's been kind of the nerd
We mentioned it
speculation.
in the beginning.
Okay.
And then it was a part of last week's because I said I think that's it. And Andy was like, I don't know. They could be just playing with us.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about it.
Well, I mean, hey, don't you think they go ahead? No. I mean, I guess they've kind of sort of been playing with us all along, you know.
No, because I was right.
So can we just
Last week.
can we just jump into WandaVision 7 right now real quick?
Yeah,
Let's
Because
go.
my big question is, I even looked her up, and I still don't think I get who she is. Like, and I know, Andy, you've explained this probably 3 times. So I was just editing the Iron Man or the Thor episode where you kind of got on into it. Who is Agatha Harkness?
honestly, I don't know a hell of a lot about her myself, but I've been looking her up, and it's where I knew her was from Avengers comics when she kind of became the mentor for Wanda when Wanda realized her powers were like initially what she thought her powers were her mutant powers because she was supposed to be the daughter of Magneto.
Yeah,
she had they called her like hex bolts or something like that, where she could like change probability fields around people. Like it was very vague and weird, and was kind of what so writers could basically use them what they wanted for.
Yeah,
but like if you're running at her or something. She could cast like a hex field, which is what they referenced in this when they called it the hex.
The hex, yeah.
That was a reference to her hex powers, and I forgot to mention that in the last episode. But
that's really cool.
It's like boom.
Wait, hold on. Art Star, did you catch that? Hex bolts equals the hex field.
Oh, I'm
just making sure Art was
I've
WandaVision.
I've been on the hex.
Making sure.
I've been on hex since way back when.
WandaVision.
Before they was even saying the hex.
Okay.
Look at these hexes. I was on hex already. I got this.
Just make sure you're clear, Mr. Wanda and Vision.
You trying to goad me.
No, I'm doing my job as assistant professor and making sure that you aren't pulling another Art while Andy is explaining.
As you were saying,
sorry, Andy. I wanted to make sure the whole class was catching that.
I think she wants to demote you down to a student so you and I can go to the frat parties and drink a bunch of beers.
No, I don't want to see that. I'm not bailing you guys out of jail.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll get to so she could cast a hex on you, put a hex. You put a hex on someone, bad luck happens.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch. We're talking about.
She could put a hex field and change the probabilities of the fact that the guy would trip over his own shoes and fall down instead of attacking her. Stuff it was just oop. You fell over instead of attacking me. Stuff like that. That thing might fall on top of your head, and then I win. Yeah. It was just weird luck-based powers. But eventually, she sort of realized, and it plays into the commercial in this episode, that she was kind of like a weird, a magical nexus being, a nexus point, a living embodiment of a magical nexus sort of thing. Yeah. She could channel this thing called chaos magic, which kind of explains it. So it was less mutant power and more magic. So Agatha Harkness, being like a witch from old school, like from the Salem witch trials era, she's like an eternal creature or being, comes in and starts teaching her how to use her stuff and how to.
But you don't know where she comes from, or if she's evil, or she's on a bad side, or what's her motive.
What I've read, what the research I did, like she doesn't seem like a villain really. She looks the sinister part. She's an old, severe looking crone kind of lady.
Yeah.
But she was also the babysitter for the Fantastic Four's kid for Franklin Richards, and like. She, like the governess is what they called it then.
She has this whole. I guess her attachment is to beings who can alter reality. Like I guess because she's a witch or something, maybe it makes it seem like she has a hold on being able to, I guess, nurture them better. Does that make sense?
I mean, she's well versed in magic stuff. I mean, she goes back to like the Salem witch trials. Before that, she remembers Atlantis sinking in the antiquity times. She's been around forever, and she's fought against the witch persecutions. She had this group called the Daughters of Liberty that she was a part of. She had like this coven of magic users in Colorado at some point, but she never really seemed to be evil. Although she had some. The other thing with her connection with Scarlet Witch is that she's the one who revealed to her that the children she sort of magicked into existence were actually shards of the soul of Mephisto, who is basically Marvel's version of Satan. Like hell is just like another dimension in Marvel. So, and Mephisto is basically the devil, but he's not the literal devil of the Bible.
Huh.
So there's a little crowbar separation there, so they don't have to claim that they're being biblical about it. But so that leads to Mephisto being the guy who probably shows up soon as the big villain drop. I mean, Agatha had a great theme song to introduce her, but I think there's still a greater villain hammer coming in the next couple episodes, the last 2 episodes.
Has to be.
Yeah, and Mephisto's very much like of the classic state devil interpretation of, ooh, let's make a deal for your soul kind of guy.
Ooh, do you think the deal is about the children? Because we don't see the children.
Yeah, what Agatha Harkness wants, what the MCU version of Agatha Harkness could be completely different. It could be anything. They could take her in any direction they want, which is currently fun-loving witch, it looks like, because she's making a sitcom world to mess around in.
Right.
Who knows what her perception is, or what she wants to be doing here. And Agatha Harkness is such a niche character that I don't think too many people are going to be that upset if they just take her in a crazy, weird other direction.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think about the actress playing her, and
Catherine
she can have
Hahn.
fun. I think they're going to let her have fun.
Yeah, I think she's just going to sink her teeth into this and be full on classic witch kind of madness.
Yeah, I could see them making her sort of like a good person. So maybe she's creating all this to protect Wanda from Mephisto. Is that what
That could be too.
Is that what you're kind of getting into? Like he'll be the bad guy, and she's like trying to keep him away from. I don't know, maybe.
But then she killed the dog.
She killed who?
So
she says, "I killed."
She killed Sparky. This is the dog from a couple episodes ago that we haven't talked about, who is actually from a comic series where the Vision kind of makes his own family of androids, including an android dog, I believe. So I think they actually took the name Sparky.
I forgot about the dog. Yeah, well,
about the dog.
Well, it could be just a thing where she's like, like I hate dogs. Like Alf, we still loved Alf even though he ate cats. Like it could be that kind of thing.
Still love Alf though?
Do we love Alf?
I don't. Do we love Alf?
We collectively love Alf.
I liked Alf.
I don't know. Do we cancel? Did he get
Magnet.
canceled yet? Did Alf get canceled? I'm sure he was problematic in the day. I'm sure he was misogynistic or something.
He did have a crush on their 16-year-old daughter for a while.
Yeah, that was weird.
Made a music video about it, and he's like 300 or however old Mel Mac people are.
Yeah, I don't know if we've already talked about this, but Alf is the show where everybody who was on Alf quit acting after Alf because it was so shitty.
Yeah, everyone hated Alf.
I'm just done. No more
I will
acting.
not do this
I never want to do it again.
I remember. I don't know what show it was. It might have been Kinky Boots, but I remember the cousin from Alf, and I remember when he first came in the door, I kept looking at this guy, and I was like, where do I know this guy from? Where do I know this guy from? And he went to go put his scarf on one day because I guess it was cold outside. And I was like, oh, that's the cousin from Alf. I was like, I hadn't seen this dude in anything. And here he is.
Because he wasn't trying to be.
You met him. You were one step away from him.
Yeah, but it was really weird to see someone from an 80s TV show that you hadn't. I mean, he probably did small thing, but I hadn't seen him in anything.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it took me seeing him 5 or 6 times to realize who he was.
Yeah, that was
he just made his move to Broadway and called it maybe it was a matter of forget television.
Yeah.
I was seeing John Davidson in Finding Neverland in the back of the theater there. Just that guy hosted Hollywood Squares, and now he's right here with long gray hair.
Right.
But yes.
I guess you should tell the audience we all work at a performing arts
Yes,
center,
right.
so we're not just saying
I used to.
celebrities.
I don't anymore.
I don't even know for sure, Andy. I halfway work there.
Isn't Finding Neverland that Michael Jackson documentary about the kids being raped?
No. Well, probably.
That is also Finding Neverland.
But Finding Neverland was also a story about the creation of Peter Pan, the author.
Okay.
Where she
now I'm wondering, did that have the same name? Was that
one of them had a different name, probably. I must be thinking of.
And they made a movie about it with Johnny Depp.
Maybe it's Leaving Neverland or something. I don't know.
Anyway. It's not leaving because it's him getting there on the. Hold on.
No, I think the Michael Jackson rape story might be Leaving or Escaping Neverland.
For legal reasons, we will not call it the Michael Jackson rape story.
Right.
I'm going to put a little PSA right now for any legal entities.
Yeah.
We are not calling it that.
Yeah.
You're going to get us sued. Thanks, Joe.
Well, that's true. About Michael Jackson.
Finding Neverland is the movie.
I'll have to bleep that out.
Yes, please. Finding Neverland is the movie and the Broadway show, and then it is the same name for the Michael Jackson.
Oh, they did.
It's Leaving Neverland.
Leaving Neverland, yeah.
Leaving Neverland.
Running away, screaming from
just
Neverland.
a documentary.
Yeah.
Not about anything sinister, Joe, for legal purposes. And then
I think it is, though. It's pretty bad.
Finding. I mean, I know what it's about, but I'm not going to jail. Michael Jackson's legal team has more money than all 4 of us have combined.
Allegedly. All you have to say is allegedly.
Yeah.
Okay, by his alleged interference with children.
Well, those kids could be liars. They could be wrong.
Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire.
So now you're saying definitely.
I personally
Yeah.
never thought he was innocent.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people. I didn't give him a break. I didn't think Bill Cosby was innocent. I don't think Michael Jackson is innocent. I think he had some issues. And I think people covered it up because he was Michael Jackson.
Go ahead,
Art.
Now, when you quote unquote cancel someone, do you then give up, respecting their art?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah, can I still listen to
that? I can respect what the TV show did. Mm-hmm. I do not listen to anything that gives them residual checks. So I can respect that I once upon a time watched Cosby Show and it was a family entertainment show and it was art. I do not go back and watch it because he's not getting any residual checks for my clicking on it. But I also can separate the actor or artist from their art. However, I'm not about to go around bumping R. Kelly. We don't do that. There are no downloads. There's no R. Kelly music happening on anything you see me do. I will not put money in your pocket moving forward. But I can't erase what I did in 1990.
But now that MJ's dead, can I listen to Man in the Mirror?
I don't, but you feel free to do what you want, Joe. You a grown man. I'm a side-eye you. But do what you want.
Let's play devil's advocate, right?
Lord.
So you're saying you're not going to bump R. Kelly. But what if you go through your CD catalog and find your R. Kelly disc? Can you
It
now
would be
still
thrown
play?
away.
But listen,
I don't have any. I have gotten
he-
rid of all the things.
But he's not getting any airplay, or like you're not clicking on anything because you already
I would
own it.
not.
You
I
already
have
paid
a
for it.
firm stance against anyone who has harmed women or children,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of their art. Tiffany does not play that, and Tiffany is good. I wouldn't call it cancel culture. I don't care what you do. I personally will not add any investiture of time or money until the individual.
So you clarified it because at first I'm like saying it's one thing if I'm buying your stuff, but if I already have it, doesn't mean like now I have to throw away
the channel.
My investment.
We ain't even doing it. You could have my favorite karaoke. No more. Done. It won't play no more. I am DONE. Done. I will always err on the side of women and children.
Even if they're dead? What if they're dead?
I will still err on the side of women and children.
So if I listen I can't listen to Man in the Mirror shirtless while crying in the bathroom anymore.
You could, but I will side eye you.
Like if I'm I just want to lay in my tub and cry listening to Man in the Mirror. That's all I want to do.
I will find you some other sappy, sad songs that you can cry to in the tub, okay? I will make you a special cry alone in a puddle of your own tears playlist.
I think there was just a time where Andy and I probably felt like your bubble is burst, and it's like that means everyone is probably bad. Like Bill Cosby was Picture Pages, he was Fat Albert, he was that, and Michael Jackson was our whole Thriller, that whole album, and so it's like all of our childhood was like. Now a joke.
Like, our family sat down and watched the world premiere of Michael Jackson's videos when they came.
Yeah, remember that? Remember the first moonwalk?
America's Black Dad.
Like I said, Michael Jackson doing that moonwalk at the Motown 25th anniversary special was the last time I legitimately believed magic might be real.
Yeah,
I was 8 years old. The guy was walking forward but moving backwards. I didn't understand. It was amazing. I remember where I was. I yelled at my family to come watch this.
We couldn't believe what we were seeing. Yeah.
And trying to bring it back to WandaVision with the magic.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
Good job,
I was about to say,
Andy.
ladies and gentlemen, this is a podcast about nerd culture.
Yeah, and by no means do I think I'm the victim here. Like I know I'm not the victim in all this. The guy, my childhood was ruined. Like
there are still.
But
there are still people who ride hard for all of these people. There was just people walking down the street chanting "Free R. Kelly" a couple months ago.
Yeah,
I mean, there are people who are going to err on the side of the artist, which is their prerogative. Do what you want. I think it's in society.
It's just not wanting to let go of something you love.
Yeah,
I had the hardest time. Like Bill Cosby albums were like formed the basis of my sense of humor. And so it was the hardest that I just kind of shut down about that for a while when that stuff was all coming out.
music and television and entertainment is so intertwined in your memories and your life. So you feel like you're losing a memory or part of your life, but you're not. You're losing that song, and you've had that song, and that's gone. But it is hard. But
but I think if you'd have told me in 1980 he did these things, I'd have cut it off in 80. I think. I'm very sensitive to victims of assaults, and so I will err on the side. And even out of 20, if there was 2 who just jumped on the bandwagon, there's still 18 who went through something.
Yeah,
I'm always, as a human, I err on the side of victims because I've just witnessed too many of them who haven't been heard, or too many who have remained silent because of power structure.
That's right. Yeah. That's it. And here's how to bring this back in, because I just saw something that terrified me that I want to talk to you guys and see if you've heard of this. Apparently Stan Lee wasn't such a great guy. I don't know if that's slander, but there's apparently a book coming out this year or soon that I'm thinking one of those unauthorized biographies, so I'm not sure if it's a hit piece or what, but it's supposed to shatter nerds' like iconery is probably not the right word, but here's
the thing
of Stan Lee.
Here's the thing.
I've heard tell some stories that like I haven't heard anything like assaults or anything like that, but I've heard some tell of him, like some general misogyny that I would hope he eventually grew out of, because he's a product of that era.
A time, yeah.
Yeah, he may have, and he did. He worked. I guess he created a show in like the '90s, like an animated series with Pamela Anderson called Stripperella, which
I remember that.
Yeah,
oh, that sounds familiar.
And he was involved in that, and I think he had a libido on him. Yes. That he may have gotten handsy with some people, but I don't know any of the specifics. But I don't think it was. I don't know.
Go Art.
What this says.
Here's my thing with things like this. See, a lot of times, and we're all guilty of this. It's one of those things where it's like it's hard to not do it because it's you just happen to do it just because it's easy to fall into that track. But a lot of times we deify these actors, artists, and we make them be something bigger because, like, oh, he or her are famous, but at the end of the day, they started out just like us. You know what I mean?
They're humans.
Like, yeah. So, like, right now, and I'm going to use her. Tiff, she's tipped us. 20 years from now, we could be watching television.
Senator Jackson.
Either that, or
my character will remain pristine.
or she's getting her Oscar. She's getting her Oscar, and we're like, "Wow, that's Tiff."
Yeah.
But some people be like, "Oh my goodness, I must meet her because she's like the bee's knee. Like she's the greatest. She can't do no wrong." And
then we be like,
real quick, I can't.
We beg to differ. She hurt Art's feelings.
Right.
Art has no feelings. Art has no feelings.
The force will free me. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, a lot of times, like you said, just being like, being around people that we tend to be around, it's always like, oh, wow, look at that person. Like, I must have that. Like, I bet you get that autograph. Like, nah, it's just a person. You know what I'm saying? He's just a person that everyone knows. Everyone knows this guy or this girl. It's not like, they came out and they for all intents and purposes, it's not like they shit gold. You know what I'm saying? It's like they do everything we do, except people just know them more. People
are weird. It is a weird thing. It's always interesting to watch celebrities fall because I always tell people, like, if you came to me today and was like, Joe bat someone over the head, I'd be like, man, Joe, I wish you would have kept it together. But I'm never going to be like, oh, no, not that person, because everyone is capable of everything. Everyone is capable of things, and we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But we in America do value celebrity status. Like, think about how much celebrity gets paid over someone in the military or a teacher, or like it is a structure we built where they are on a high stool. And I think there's a difference between Stan Lee in 1962, Playboy culture, and Stan Lee before he died, right? And I think most of us can see the difference. Now, if there are assaults, that I don't forgive that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about assaults.
But if you were just a dude who was an asshole, as dudes were up until, well, some still are. I mean, because you live in a patriarchal society that a lot of men have been told that they can do no wrong. You add money to that. You add fame to that. And then they really don't think they can do wrong, and they get away with a lot of things. So part of it is he is human, and I would never be like, oh, no, not him. Because humans are humans, and humans are full of complicated emotions and actions, and are made of histories that aren't all pristine, except me. I have a pristine history. Read about it in my unauthorized tell-all. Maybe don't ask my ex-husband, but he's the only one that might tell me.
There is a talk, like, Stan Lee did get accused often of taking more credit than he earned for the creation of a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
And you've talked about that throughout some of the episodes. But I don't think that it sounds like this isn't that. It sounds like this is, at least from what the headline is, it's like it's shattering for nerds. But
I think a lot of us knew that. Like, he was not always honest about how much of a role he played in some stuff, and that he
would come up with like a vague idea, and then Jack Kirby would take it and nail it all down and put the visuals to it. And then,
but that's every company. Like that's every company that exists. The guy at the top takes all the credit for everybody's work all the time. So that's everywhere I've been. That's what happens.
And I don't think Stan Lee was. Maybe I might be wrong, but I don't think he was as bad as like Bob Kane, the guy who created Batman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All he created was the name and a sketch of a dude in like a red suit with bat wings. Didn't even have a mask. He had like a little domino mask, and that's all he did. But then this guy Bill Finger created everything that was cool about Batman.
Yeah.
But Bob Kane insisted he was always credited as the sole creator and cut Bill Finger out of it.
Oh, that sucks. Really?
Trash dudes, like I said. Trash dudes.
There's some trash dudes. And I imagine...
Is that something will we talk about that when we get into Batman? Like, will that be a whole thing?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Once we start
we gotta
covering
go down
Batman for reals.
Because TBJ is Batman.
We'll get all...
I am.
Yeah.
They fictionalized my life in a way, and they made it a dude. That's where they went wrong.
Yeah.
If they would have just kept it based on its original source. I come from a family of Batmans.
Wow.
But they jacked that up.
And that was WandaVision episode 7, everybody.
Can we just say before we conclude that last week, everybody was like, I don't know, they might have thrown us for a wrench. And I was like, nah, I still think she's Agatha. Still think it's a thing.
And we haven't talked about Monica Rambeau yet. In this episode, we get her transformation.
Her yes.
Yeah, she's starting to become the superhero. She when she busts through that barrier, and we seeing her separated and like rehashing everything that happened in the Captain Marvel movie when she was a kid, dealing with her own emotional things, is kind of becoming multiple people, and then she comes out of it together because she's the toughest kid in history or whatever, and she's viewing the world with that weird Spectrum eyes. Spectrum being one of her names, Spectrum being the basis of her power.
Really?
I was realizing like this whole weird TV world, like the electromagnetic spectrum that the TV band is broadcast on or something. It's a perfect way to create what her power set is, which is basically being able to transform into any sort of energy all around the whole spectrum. And I mean, we haven't seen everything yet, but she can see the world that way, and she was able to stand up to Wanda messing with her. She did the badass superhero landing, and was daring her to kind of do it before Agatha came in and kind of said, "Run along now."
Swooped away. Yeah.
And
I think as soon as she walked through that shield and I saw her, I was like, "Oh, yes, let's do this, Marvel. Let's do it." And then the other thing I made note of is Vision keep trying to get back home.
Yeah.
And keep getting stopped. And he keeps saying, I think Wanda's trying to keep me from home, but now we know it's not Wanda keeping him away, because stuff keeps happening with him and Darcy.
Yeah, that's fun.
When I watched it over for the last time, a little like early today, I had noticed, like when him and Kat are sitting in the vehicle, at one point he's talking about something, and then he's like he's looking at Kat as he's talking, but then he does the fourth wall thing where he's looking at us and giving us the kind of like look, like the like really kind of look, when all of these things just kept popping up, stopping them from getting back into town. I was like, oh, he like looked at the camera again, so like I did, I guess earlier when he like looked at the camera when they was sitting together.
He did the Modern Family thing.
Yeah.
That Andy was right. They went Modern Family with it.
Yeah, he was 100% right on that one. I was disappointed though in Monica when it's on and she's about to be badass, and I can't wait to see her kick ass. And then when Agatha, I mean, maybe this is meant to be leave me wanting more, but Agatha takes Wanda and no, we're gonna, and then Monica just let it go. Like, what? No, kick her ass. Like,
did you
he didn't watch
see that this is the first episode that has like a post-credit sequence?
Yeah, I watched it, but I can't remember. Now I don't remember what happened.
Like, that's Monica investigating Agatha's house, ripping open her cellar doors, seeing the weird hallway into the thing, and then fake Quicksilver shows up and says Snooper's going to snoop.
Right.
And then that.
Yeah, I did see that. But that doesn't help me with anything. I just watch.
Well, she wasn't going to fight her on the street because remember, it's still she doesn't know that that's Agatha.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And it is this weird world, so she may not want to disrupt the whole world. She's just trying to get Wanda's attention and Wanda to make.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I saw that, and she's a good actress, I think, because I could see her wanting that and wanting more and just being like frustrated. But I was like, I wanted Kick-Ass right now. Like I wanted Kick-Ass, and then
we're not just gonna have a fight to have a fight.
Yeah,
yeah. She's not looking for a fight, and she doesn't know exactly what her powers are yet either. I don't think.
She's so badass, and she just got those powers, and I want to see her kick so much ass. So I can't wait for whatever movie.
But she's trying to save Wanda.
Yeah.
Like she wants to work with Wanda.
Yeah.
She keeps saying, "I think if we know what's happening, we can help."
Yeah,
so
that's
I
true.
don't think she will fight. Well, I predict she will fight somebody before we wrap up in episode 9.
And I do like that her little outfit sort of completely echoes her comic book costume. The black and white look of various sorts. It's like, all right, she's actually kind of in her superhero outfit.
Well, that was a sword. It said sword on it, though, right? Like it was a sword.
It did, but just the design of it, the color scheme.
Color scheme.
It looks very like.
Okay.
I texted all you guys pictures of.
That's the first I saw.
A couple episodes ago.
Real quick. So,
real quick.
Get back into, but I've been trying to get back into reading some of Marvel, and they have like their like King of Black thing, which I'm trying to get back into, whatever. And like today, I seen this thing about one of not a one shot, but one of the limited series that came out of King of Black, and it was like King of Black Symbiote Spider-Man #3. It has her in it. Like this came out in December. But it was Monica Rambeau. Like, so Kang, who's, again, when I say real quick, the only reason is because Kang has something to do with King and Black. And Kang is going to be the villain in Ant-Man, which is also somehow going to call back to multiversal type shit. But in this issue of Spider-Man, basically what Kang has been doing in the book is going back, gathering up enemies to fight this dude, King and Black. And he went and they went back in time, and it goes back to showing Monica Rambeau in this exact same uniform, in the exact same color scheme, but she's still Captain Marvel, and she does like something which she like Captain Marvel to the rescue, but she looks almost like Tiana Paris, like hair and all. I mean, and I guess they kind of modeled her after Captain Marvel, but
I'm sure like the whole thing. Art imitates movies. Art imitates
right.
And I say they do that on purpose, don't they?
I'm sure.
Just to be able to, So like, just to be able to be in the writers' room when they start planning these things out has to be probably one of the greatest things in the world. Yeah, you know, because like you can just like even as an artist, I'm just sitting there like I can like just visualize like, man, that's gonna look fucking awesome. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to see how that's gonna look. You know.
That's the thing with comic books is you don't have a budget to worry about. Whatever your imagination can put on the page, you can create a story in that world, in that universe, in that multiverse.
And they're always retconning shit, so...
Yeah, that too.
Which I think that's what makes these movies so amazing is that they're now able, with the technology that we have and the big budgets we have, to make these movies like that. Like they can do anything. Like what they're doing on WandaVision, a TV show, is unbelievable. It looks awesome. Like what they did with her getting her powers, walking through that thing, and with Vision falling apart. That's unbelievable. Compare that to the old Incredible Hulk TV show. Like,
we've come a long way, man.
I know
it's like a giant mullet wig.
It's so exciting. Right? Yeah, it's just an exciting, and I know that's like the thing I say every episode. It's like I just can't believe it. But it's
genuine incitement.
Yeah, it's like it's nice to take a second to realize how cool the world we're in right now, that as much awfulness and hatred and awful shit there is, there's some cool technology and there's some good cool shit that we're getting to see.
Oh, I think that to me that's one of those things. Like it's like, you know, like you said, you're aware of what's going on out in the real world, but the cool thing about fiction is the fact that it allows you to, you know, take a break from the humdrum.
Yeah, just escape. Yeah.
Escapism is a great thing, especially
See
when
why the
especially
arts
when it's
are
natural.
essential.
Say it again.
The arts are essential.
Yeah.
In times
totally.
of crisis and need, the arts come through. That's my PSA for the arts. Please give funding to your schools to continue your arts programs because ish is important.
That is.
Right.
Well, that's right. And it's like, it's funny. Like, I'm sure there's a study somewhere, a dissertation on this, but it's like, depending on what exactly is going on in the world at different times, how many movies, like, sometimes I just want to I don't want to pay attention to anything, and I just want to immerse myself in this Marvel universe. And it's like, the movie, if you looked at like movies and how much they made compared to what the hell's going on in the world, I bet you could see a parallel between this movie made all this money and Trump was in office or whatever it is,
Movies and concerts.
or all these,
Independent.
movies and concert. Yeah. Right. And so there's this whole thing. I mean, it's just a crazy reality that we're in.
And it's used for good. I mean, we'll talk about it when we get into Captain America, but realize they use the arts to talk to the people at a very hectic time. So it's essential.
Yeah, it is. And that's a good, is there anything else on WandaVision episode 7?
I feel like, we went through the first 6 and then 7 threw that wrench out there, but it was an awesome, it tripped us up.
Yeah.
But, we didn't care about getting that little scuff, I think the next 2 are going to make us, I literally cannot wait to see the next episode.
Oh, me too.
All right. Theories. Anyone have any theories on who, we've established that Quicksilver is not actually Quicksilver. So who is that guy? Who do you think that guy is?
Does he have to be
the big bad?
Does he have to be a person?
He seems to be seems to be.
If you pay attention in the last scene, though, like you can still see her little magic purplish stuff like wafting off of him as he talks to Monica.
Oh, really? You know what? I didn't catch that.
If you go back, look behind him while he's talking. So he's still under whatever spellish or whatever.
And then also,
thing he's under.
what I've seen and read somewhere, like you notice you never see him and the rabbit at the same time.
You know what?
So
I was just thinking that myself because the rabbit Senor Scratchy.
And so supposedly that's her son, Nicholas Scratch. And in the comics, it's weird. But then it's also like it could be her familiar in human form, or it couldn't. But it's one of those things where it's like we just don't know yet. But
in the comics, she does have a black cat named Ebony, I believe, or something like that can, I think, shapeshift and do some magical stuff. So this could just be her pet. It could be, like you said, she has a son in the comics named Nicholas Scratch, but she hates him. Like she's always fighting against him, and I don't think it's ever been named who that kid's father is. But and he's super evil too. Like
you're talking Scarlet Witch has a son named
no. Agatha Harkness, has a son named Nicholas Scratch.
Got you.
Old Scratch, which is also a name for the devil.
So you guys think there's more to Agatha?
Yeah, there could be. And she could be working with Mephisto. She'd be working against Mephisto. Mephisto might not be involved at all. But
so Mephisto's supposed to be is going to be in Doctor Strange.
It could very well be.
It's going to be in Doctor Strange. So and then then we have No Way Home. So I guess Spider-Man No Way Home. So I guess somehow all of this stuff is going to intertwine. So it could be as simple as it's Mephisto. Or it could be because that's sitting even the fact of we didn't even discuss the whole aerospace engineer thing, where people thinking is it the chick that gave her the vehicle? But then Tiana Pass recently came out and said that people are going to be surprised when they see who the aerospace engineer. She can't wait to see their reaction. So it clearly wasn't this lady who gave her the vehicle. So it's is it Reed Richards or is someone totally different? Oh. So it's all of these, is it or isn't it? And Marvel is it's it's one of those things where you can like you go to the vending machine, you put your money in because you like it's the last honey bun, right? You put your dollar in, you press the button, and it starts to cool around. You're like licking your chops, and then it gets stuck, right? And you can't get it out, but it's there, and you want it. You know, it's your favorite honey bun, and you can't get it out the vending machine. You got no more money. The guy ain't coming until Monday. It's Friday, you know? So like, oh man, what is it? What is it? What is it? This is what they're doing to us, you know? It's like it's the whole cat playing with its food kind of thing.
So we're waiting on our stuck honey bun.
Exactly.
But you know that's a honey bun, though. But you know that's a honey bun. We don't know what's behind that honey bun. And you know, maybe you're getting.
That's true.
You know, maybe it's that. Like maybe you're getting two things, and you don't know what's behind that honey bun.
And one more little nerd note about Mephisto and what his presence could mean if we get him is that in Mephisto's realm, where souls go to be punished and stuff, it's basically hell. One of those souls is the mother of Dr. Doom. And one of Dr. Doom's primary motivations in learning magic in the first place, because he's like a super tech genius and a super magic genius, he melds the two into this super powerful thing he is. And one of his reasons for learning magic was to try to free his mother's soul from Mephisto's realm. So that could be eventually. I mean, I don't. And Dr. Doom also has had some connections with Wanda.
Wow.
Through there was a whole period of time actually when after Wanda went crazy and kind of did a bunch of like eliminated all the mutants from the world and stuff, she kind of brainwashed herself and like had amnesia for a while, and she was gone. No one knew where she was. They were trying to figure out how to find her so she could reverse what she did. But when they did find her, she had amnesia. She didn't remember who she was really. She had this whole other life in her head. And she was about to marry Dr. Doom. Ooh. And Dr. Doom knew full well who she was and was doing that to kind of be able to keep her from harming anyone else and also to probably exploit her power for his own gain. But because Dr. Doom is that. He is this crazy egomaniacal, only I can rule the world because I'm the only one that can keep it safe and protect everybody. He honestly thinks he's doing the right thing by trying to take over the world all the time and rule it with an iron fist.
I think we just got a blazing hot take.
Right? So many options, so many tunnels.
Is that a prediction? You think this is Dr. Doom?
I don't. I would love it.
Or you think this is Mephisto, but Mephisto can lead to Dr. Doom? Like you think?
Yeah, I think
Mephisto like this might be Mephisto.
Opens the door to Dr. Doom,
and we might get Dr. Doom in the Doctor Strange movie or some other movie coming up.
Dr. Doom could totally be in the Doctor Strange movie because there's also a storyline where Doctor Strange had to compete with Dr. Doom to become the Sorcerer Supreme in the first place. And
you're such a nerd.
Yes,
that's why you came to Andy.
That's right. I know. I keep marveling. Like if I ever wonder for a second if you're maybe not qualified enough to be doing this, like you smack my head over with a giant shovel. I'm like, I am the nerdiest motherfucker in the world.
How dare you question Andy's nerd?
Not that I ever question.
I'm not even the nerdiest motherfucker in the world.
I just
this
can't
is how
believe
nerdy you can get without taking that title.
Yes,
I just
in
can't.
This gang, you are.
It's just endless nerd knowledge you got, and all three of you really have a lot of this. Like I can't believe how much you guys know. And then I guess as somebody who doesn't retain things you tell me from one week to the next, I can't fathom how you remember all this.
Oh, your final exam is going to be rough.
Yeah, I'm gonna have.
Like I said last time, at the end of this, you're gonna have moments where like you're watching something, and out of nowhere, some obscure, asinine fact or something's gonna. It's like, oh, I know. Why do I know about this? And like you ain't gonna know why, but it's gonna be there. You're gonna have this thought you have thoughts in your head and don't know where they came from, other than the fact that you know.
There are things I'm picking up because I did when I was editing the Thor one. I was like, did I just say that? Was that me that said that? Yeah. Holy cow! Not a lot. I mean, it's nowhere near you guys, but there's things that I'm like, but there's other things I'm just duh. But I gotta say, I'm loving watching this stuff now that I'm getting the knowledge from you guys. Like when I watched episode 7, for some reason my smart TV didn't remember that I already watched 6, so it started 6 over, and took me a couple minutes. Like, I think I saw this already, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let it play. Once I realized, I was like, no, I need to like rewatch all this again based on what you guys said.
So like, even if you don't.
Yeah, it wasn't that long, but and then I figured it'll really, but I couldn't wait. I really couldn't wait for 7, but I was like, no, this will help me understand 7 more if I watch it one more time. Plus, I wanted to see if that thing about Kick-Ass that I said was true. I was like, I swear I remembered that. Art was with me, but you guys didn't remember the Kick-Ass reference. And again, I saw it again. I was like, yeah, that was definitely a Kick-Ass reference.
Yeah.
Did you rewatch that and see that? But then, so it was neat kind of watching that again, and I could go back and watch the whole thing again, I think.
You can watch. Once we wrap this series, I can easily see us going back and rewatching. Like,
I just
this is
rewatched.
back through.
Yeah, I just rewatched the first 2 episodes today. I was going to try to watch them all before the show. I didn't have time, but I watched the first 2 episodes. And even in the first episode, where they're doing like the wacky thing where his boss comes over for dinner, and then everyone kind of freezes. Like they can't remember their history or whatever, and they're trying to get their story. And then the boss starts choking, and no one does anything until Wanda finally says, "Vision, help him." And then suddenly he goes over and like phases the thing out of his throat. And that's plays into a bit later where Vision says, "You can't control me like you can do the other ones." And Wanda's like, "Can't I?"
Yeah, right.
It's like,
good point.
She can if she wants to, I think. But then again, can she, or is that Agatha Harkness doing her thing?
Yeah, we don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't wait for episode 8.
Yeah, because I think that's going to be, I mean, if they make Agatha Harkness into like an eternal witch who is also obsessed with pop culture enough to kind of create this weird sitcom reality for them, that makes more sense to me than Wanda creating a sitcom world for herself, because it doesn't seem like how she, like, you know. Then again, we know very little about her actual childhood and all that, but it seems like more of a thing where Agatha Harkness, like, I think she's American. I think like she's been around for maybe not, but that'd be an interesting take to have her be like a pop culture obsessed eternal witch of some sort.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, me too. I'm all for it, and I think it does make more sense than Wanda just do it. Like, I do. One hesitation I have about all this is, and maybe they'll just come through and it'll be great. And I think I've probably expressed this worry before, but they've built this up to be so exciting. WandaVision has been such a wild ride and so exciting for everybody. Can they keep this going? Like, is there? Can Falcon
we answer this for you every week, Joe?
But Falcon and Bucky
asked us 3 weeks in a row.
There's no way Falcon and Bucky can be this exciting.
It could be.
Yes.
We'll talk about this, I guess, when we get into Captain America, maybe. But there's a thing I want Falcon and the Winter Soldier to focus on. And I don't know if you want me to talk about it now, since we're talking about Marvel TV.
Well, maybe this is the transition to Captain America.
Well, do you want to close out this episode before we go into
I don't know. Haven't we closed it out or not?
No, we haven't. We kept talking about
what I was going to say before we dive into it.
I know we didn't get there yet.
Like the whole, can they keep this up? Like, you know, like this WandaVision, we got 9 episodes. Like today I was reading something like we're going to get only 6 episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, that's it? Only 6? That's bullshit.
But they're supposed to, but it is funny you say that, but they're supposed to be hour-long episodes.
Oh.
And one of the things I read in the comments, people were pissed, like, I'm canceling Disney Plus. 6 episodes? 6 episodes? They could have given us a movie. And you think about it, like, if it's 6 episodes, that's like 3 movies. I mean, like, I don't know if you ever watched, like, the Sherlock TV show with Benedict Cumberbatch.
No, I don't know what that is.
They usually only, and it's, you know, it's British television. They usually only do 4 episodes, right?
Yeah.
So, like, each episode is like an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
So it's like a movie.
Yeah.
And it's a continuation. So imagine you're watching something that's 6. It's like an hour long, and you get 6 of them. You can do a lot with that.
And then you're complaining that you're going to cancel Disney Plus because there's only 6 of them.
Yeah,
they're not going to cancel it because everyone's going to be watching it and talking about it, and they're going to be like, "Oh crap, I need my Disney Plus back," and they're going to be right back on there. Everything coming out on Disney Plus. So those of you who are quick to cancel Disney, good luck watching.
I'm just so entertained. I'm just picturing Art going up to these nerds who are complaining. Like I'm picturing it. It's like some comic convention, and these nerds are complaining. I'm gonna cancel Disney Plus. And he's like, "That's a whole movie. You're getting a movie every week. Like, what are you doing?" And it's like slapping these guys.
No, I wouldn't slap him. I'd pull out a lightsaber, Kylo Ren him, and it'd be weird because like I just walk up and just extend it and just keep on going, and they just like falling. Everyone like, "What's going on?" He just died. Like, going about my business, you know.
All right, explain to me this about Kylo Ren's lightsaber. It's got the 3 prongs, and it's got like, all right, you're holding it there, and you got 2 little lightsabers on either side. If you're doing some spinny stuff with your cool lightsaber, how you're not cutting your own wrist off?
Every time.
Magic.
He ain't got no answer.
The Force will free him.
The Force.
Kylo Ren is dumb.
All right, the Force. It's always the Force. He's got too many midichlorians.
Joe, let me know when you wrap this up because I'm actually just going to save this file and then start a new.
Do we want to wrap? So that I think that covers pretty much a lot of episode 7. So let's end there if we're all good, and we will come back with episode 8 very soon. This is a whole episode on its own that I'll probably put out before it, and we'll be back. And this time we're going to try. What? What did you say?
I was going to say, should we go Excelsior?
Excelsior? Should we all 3?
Excelsior!
All 4?
I feel like you have enough recordings of you guys saying that we don't have to say it every dang time.
Saying
or
what?
Y'all.
Saying what, Tiff?
Nothing. Not that word.
I got one.
Not that word.
Yeah.
This is for Tiff. How about we just go Don Cheadle was hot?
Yep. You can say Don Cheadle. You can say Idris Elba. You can say Michael B. Jordan. I don't care. You guys say Excelsior, and I'll be like, Michael.
Out of all 3 of those guys, TBJ, who would you pick out of those 3?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I think Idris Elba.
I don't know.
Idris Elba, I would
suddenly have I would suddenly need a poly lifestyle. I would need to have 3 husbands. That's nice. What would be required. I would suddenly change how I live.
Change them like you change your glasses.
Exactly. We'll have a nice living arrangement.
Yeah, indeed. Although I do have to say, now that I'm thinking about it, if this Stan Lee book comes out and he turns out to be a huge monster as well, we might want to stop saying Excelsior, which was his big.
That might be Excelsior.
Yeah, that might ruin a lot of things for everyone.
Okay.
About the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor. Still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election to end racism. Proud over pessimism, glad to see Obama, but don't expect me not to speak out when I still see problems.
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
Nerd Skool is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improved.